I now give the floor to Her Excellency Reem Ebrahim Al Hashimy, Minister of State for International Cooperation of the United Arab Emirates.
In the name of God, most compassionate, most merciful, Mr. President, I would like to thank His Excellency Abdullah Shahid for his exemplary leadership of the previous session. I would also like to congratulate His Excellency Kasaba Quroshi on assuming the presidency of this session and wish him all the success in his role. At the precipice of a new era for the world order, the UAE has chosen to embrace peace, recovery, and prosperity within an international system that is supported by an open and robust network of partnerships. Through this framework, we will launch new pathways for cooperation in fields of economics, sustainable development, advanced technology, and scientific research. This is the underlying premise that guides my country's foreign policy, governs our bilateral and multilateral engagements, and also inspires our membership throughout our Security Council term. However, we are well aware of the magnitude of the daunting challenges before us today, as well as the increasing level of polarization that looms over the entire international system. This is a clear result of crises increasing in number and frequency, in addition to the emergence of new epicenters of conflict and a dangerous escalation in the activities of armed groups, all while people around the world are suffering immensely from food and climate crises. These challenges not only threaten the gains by humanity, but also severely impact poor and developing countries and their ability to meet the needs of their people. These issues call into question the effectiveness of the current world order. However, it is this very system, built on the ruins of the Second World War, that has significantly contributed to strengthened international security and stability. What we need today is to restore confidence in this existing international system and the legitimacy of its institutions. We must enhance its efficiency and build its capacity to address the current crises and overcome the existential challenges of the 21st century. The UAE believes that together, with the requisite determination, all the countries present in this hall can achieve these goals by combining our capabilities to chart a better future for our people. Therefore, I would like to emphasize a number of issues that demand our attention in the coming period. Recent developments underscore the need to respect international law, in particular the United Nations Charter. International law must be applied consistently without double standards or selectivity. This is the imperative for stability and security in our international order, an order based on respect for sovereignty, independence, and territorial integrity of states. In this context, we renew our demand for an end to Iran's occupation of the 3 UAE islands, the Greater and Lesser Tums and Abu Musa. The UAE's sovereignty over which is proven by history and international law. We emphasize that despite UAE's sincere calls to peacefully resolve this conflict over the past 5 decades, Iran has not responded. But we will never relent in voicing our legitimate claim over these islands, whether through direct negotiations or through the International Court of Justice. We must spare no effort to overcome the fatigue that has become increasingly characteristic of the current international approach to addressing crises. We need to progress towards more permanent, comprehensive, and fair solutions to the escalating armed conflicts around the world, and to address the repercussions of this instability within the current world order. We must therefore embrace innovative solutions to enhance the effectiveness of the international system and empower countries and regions emerging from conflict to actively contribute to solving the most pressing challenges of this era. For decades, the Arab world and Africa have been hit the hardest by crises. As a direct result, we have learned difficult yet critical lessons. We must prioritize diplomatic solutions, dialogue, and de-escalation in order to settle tensions, prevent conflicts from emerging, and combat extremist ideologies. The recent positive developments in our region and initiatives aimed at bridge building are clear benefits of overcoming historic differences and building new partnerships across areas of cooperation in critical sectors, such as health, education, and industry, as well as in strengthening the role of women. We stress here our firm position calling for the establishment of an independent Palestinian state on the borders of June 4, 1967, with East Jerusalem as its capital in accordance with the agreed international references. We welcome affirming this point by the Prime Minister of the State of Israel in his statement from this podium regarding support for the vision of the two-state solution. We look forward to advancing all political processes in our region and paving pathways to peace. This should, however, be complemented by strengthening the united international position that rejects interference in the internal affairs of Arab countries. This type of interference undermines conflict resolution, fuels extremism and terrorism, and constitutes a flagrant violation of the sovereignty, independence, and territorial integrity of states. In light of the increasing frequency of crises, it becomes imperative to empower regional and international organizations to play an active role through regular consultations and through providing them with the tools, resources, and expertise necessary to effectively respond to current challenges. Regional organizations are more familiar with local contexts and better positioned to support mediation efforts. We have seen this repeatedly, including through the efforts of the African Union, whose initiatives we applaud and support. As we all know, the maintenance of international peace and security requires a world free of weapons of mass destruction, in particular in the Middle East and in the Korean Peninsula. It also necessitates promoting dialogue to reduce tension and to address regional and international concerns in this regard. Indeed, it is not possible to speak of a secure and stable international order in the absence of a firm international position rejecting terrorism in all its forms and manifestations and committed to hold the perpetrators and financiers of terrorism accountable. Recently, we have seen an increase in the flow of weapons and fighters into conflict zones, in addition to the emergence of groups with high combat and military capabilities, who subsequently return unregulated to their countries of origin in absence of established mechanisms to address the situation. In addition, the situation has grown increasingly dangerous as a result of terrorists' use of missiles and drones to launch cross-border attacks. These developments reflect the evolving nature of terrorism and require active efforts to prevent conflict zones from becoming a safe haven for terrorists and to update strategies on a regular basis in this regard. It is also imperative to adopt international rules and regulations that prevent terrorists from obtaining advanced weapons and technology. This threat manifested itself clearly in the Houthi terrorist group's heinous and hostile attacks earlier this year against the UAE's capital Abu Dhabi, as well as against the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. At the same time, other terrorist groups such as Daesh, Al-Qaeda and Al-Shabaab seek to develop their capabilities and revitalize their organizations, all of which directly threaten the advancements in international cooperation made thus far in the war against terrorism. As governments, we must lead our people by example, by strengthening the values of tolerance and peaceful coexistence in the face of increasing attempts to spread hate speech around the world. In addition, and in light of humanity's shared destiny, it is imperative that we acknowledge the need for joint action. We must harness our shared capabilities and energies to implement comprehensive solutions and responses that rise to the level of the existential challenges that we face today, and which are not exclusive to any one country or region. There is no clearer example of this fact than the implications of climate change. People around the world are exposed to devastating floods, heat waves, and drought, all of which exacerbate humanitarian crises and security threats, especially in areas most vulnerable to climate change. All these facts confirm that the fate of our planet is at stake. This requires us to forge partnerships and promote joint action, and in principle demands our commitment to support climate action by adopting the renewable energy agenda and providing adequate funding for climate action and supporting the capacity of developing countries to build resilient communities. It has become abundantly clear that investing in renewable energy means investing in the economy, international peace and security, and future generations. In this regard, we must take advantage of available opportunities to create practical, rational and deliberate solutions for the climate crisis, including during the 27th session of the Conference of the Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, to be held in the Arab Republic of Egypt next November. We urge all member states to actively engage in this session. And while my country prepares to host the 28th session next year, we are working to build partnerships, ensure inclusivity, and focus on areas in which we can achieve meaningful results to address the phenomenon of climate change. Furthermore, focusing on climate change will relieve the food crisis around the world. The Agricultural Innovation Initiative, launched by the UAE in cooperation with the United States, aims to improve food production and reduce hunger levels around the world. Simultaneously, we must intensify food assistance to all people and ensure the continued flow of global food supplies, while also looking for practical ways to secure supply chains in light of the current geopolitical divisions. Despite the gravity of the current challenges and the need to address them urgently, we must not disregard the importance of foresight to ensure long-term stability and prosperity. In this regard, my country is building a diversified and knowledge-based economy, which relies on scientific and technological progress and peaceful and secure societies. 2 years have passed since the Abraham Peace Accords, and this year several initiatives took place to promote developmental and economic integration and cooperation across our region. We have witnessed the rise of a community for progress in the Middle East, which will reinforce joint cooperation around the most pressing global priorities. In youth, we see the best ability to mobilize for these efforts, as proven by their resilience and innovation in the face of current crises, as well as their unparalleled passion to connect with their peers around the world and find sustainable solutions to global challenges. Therefore, we will not give up on the potential of youth or our investment in youth to ensure that they remain pillars and leaders of the future. We also believe that the full, equal and meaningful participation of women in various fields contributes to advancing societies, thereby ensuring their stability now and in the future. In conclusion, the UAE reiterates that it will continue its approach to humanitarian, diplomatic and development support for all people affected by crises and disasters, regardless of their religion, ethnicity, political affiliation, or culture. We will continue to work with all friends and partners to build the capabilities and capacities of governments and people across all fields for the universal common good. This remains the guiding principle of our efforts across all fora. Thank you, Mr. President.